briefly spoke about Cody, but we're going to talk about him again. So he finally returned to Raw after what did they say, 7 months or so? Kicks off
Yeah, it
Raw.
was like 7 months.
You knew he would kick off Raw, and I he comes into the ring and just like cuts a promo, and he's just gotten so good on the mic, and I like that. I mean, it's being rumored that it wasn't scripted, and it didn't seem scripted to me, or if it was, like he had talking points, like anybody would. But I like that they're continuing with what he started last year where it was, very much like for him, for his family, and the passion and all of that. And I thought it was really good. I almost want to like watch it again. I felt like it was really powerful
It was
for
very
for
powerful.
him.
It was
Yeah.
very powerful for him because it's something that we don't see now. It felt like a really old school back to the fundamentals promo, which didn't seem forced. That's the big thing here is that
Mhm.
it didn't seem forced. It felt like he was just truly speaking from the heart, and
Mhm.
it was not, as you said, scripted, which I would actually like to know if those promos now that we're going to see are more scripted within this era. But back to the point that I really felt like I was on that journey with him as he was speaking it. Like, he's one of the few guys in, I would say, the company right now that when they have a microphone, you do everything in your power to shut up and listen. And
Yeah.
that's what you need to be to get to that next caliber where Roman is. Obviously, Cody's
Yeah.
there from his past and, his work outside of WWE. But if there's any bloodline to dethrone the bloodline, it's the Rhodes one.
Yeah. Well, and I liked how he went over basically his life because for most of his life he's been in a wrestling ring. So I liked that he like took us on that journey from where it began to where he is now, especially as a person who was a fan of his very early on. I mean, I was such a fan of Legacy. So, like I was on that journey with him for quite a while. And I watched quite a few interviews with him after the Rumble and just hearing him talk about it. First of all, he's such an emotional, like he's such a sap now, and I love it. I don't think it's
Yeah.
just because he has had a kid. I think that him coming back to WWE is kind of like a full circle moment that he maybe never thought was going to happen, and so it just means so much more to him. And you can just see that
Oh,
when
yeah.
he's speaking about it. But the one thing that stood out to me was his emphasis of how he's not really playing a character, that he's finally at a place in his career where he gets to just go out there and be himself. And I feel it's another situation kind of similar to like Drew McIntyre, where, I've talked about before. Drew McIntyre came in, he was super young and he was hungry, and it just, his career kind of like started here. Like it started on a peak and
Yeah.
then it just gradually went down. Him leaving was the best thing that could have ever happened to him in his life and
That's
his
good.
career, and him coming back, and he's not a character. He's Drew McIntyre. Like there's some, elevated parts of him, but it's basically like he's Drew McIntyre. He's a
Obviously.
Scottish guy, and I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
that's
Oh, yeah.
very reminiscent in Cody's career, which is really cool to see because I think that you have to be a certain type of person to be able to play a character that's not a character, if that makes sense. John Cena had
No,
that
I
luxury
agree.
for a lot of his career. That was John Cena. There was nothing more to it. So,
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. And his one quote that he's now saying, undesirable to undeniable to
Undeniable.
uncrowned. I really like
It's
that.
the man. They see when you
He
can
just
come up
made
with
a
something like
t-shirt.
that.
He made a slogan for a t-shirt.
That is definitely gonna be sold at
Oh
WWE
yeah.
Shop. 24
Yeah.
99. Go
Yeah.
buy it. Go, no free ads, but go get it now. But I love this Cody Rhodes because
Mhm.
exactly what you mentioned is that he had to come back.
Mhm.
Outside of WWE is just, it's, I can't even put it into words how many different avenues you can go down of wrestling outside of WWE.
Yeah.
And growing up, I really only thought like that was the one, and that was where the
Mhm.
best of the best. And then I got a
Well,
little taste of
for a
TNA.
long time, that's what
For a
it
long
was.
time it was, and I'm not
Yeah.
saying that it isn't now,
Yeah.
but like me, I would say discovering uh TNA and then
Mhm.
finding out about guys like AJ Styles, PD Williams, Abyss, and then when you see Kurt Angle go there,
Mhm.
it was situations like that that really get you to go, okay, so yeah, WWE is the big bad dog in town, but sometimes when you don't want to go to McDonald's, you go to a mom and pop shop. You go to kind of a regional chain, we'll say.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
the same type sort of thing. That's where now that's where people in WWE superstars, men or women, that they are there and they feel stuck and they feel kind of in a regiment and they just don't feel like they're going anywhere. Then you go out and you explore, wait, maybe I was too stiff or my style was this way. Let me go to Japan. Let me go to England. Let me go do the indie scene for a little bit because that's way, way
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
after going to those limitless shows, which when you get here, when you come to Massachusetts again, whenever that happens, we gotta take you to a limitless show because holy shit, they're incredible. Like the indies are another animal. And reverting this back to my point, Cody had to do it, and that's what that's what his dad did. That's what Dusty did. Dusty wasn't a WWE guy. He was
Yeah.
not. And he really made his money and his fame in the NWA. Doing Ring of Honor, AEW, TNA, like that's our equivalent now. So he had to
Well,
do that to really elevate himself.
yeah, and I think that it seems to be the best thing for the people who have basically not had a career outside of WWE, where they like learned and trained a lot and came up through the WWE system and they never really experienced the indies or any other company. It seems like they're the ones who benefit the most from getting fired or released or
Yeah.
leaving, like, and not in a harsh way, but like I said, looking at Cody, looking at Drew McIntyre. I mean, even looking, if we're going to talk about Matt Cardona, like we haven't seen him come back yet, but
No, but
like
that's a
his
great
career
example.
has been way bigger.
Oh, that's
um
a great example. I mean, he went
so
and did the indies, he became king of the death match. Did you ever think, "Woo, woo, woo, the
I
Long Island
know.
IC would ever become king of the
Well,
death match?"
and can you imagine if, he had been released like 8 years ago, that people would be sitting there hoping that he was a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble? Like that just shows you how much it can be good for these guys. And I think it's paying off for Cody, because if it weren't for those 6 years that he was gone, he wouldn't be in the main event at WrestleMania right now. He wouldn't have been
Yeah,
given the 30th spot in the Royal Rumble to then go on to win, to then go and possibly dethrone Roman Reigns, who has been the guy for the past 3-4 years. So huge, huge thing for him. And it's really cool to just see the fans' reaction to him, especially comparing to, for the last half of like his AEW run. They were for kind of trying to force him to be a good guy, but the crowd wasn't into it. So it's it's
yeah.
it's cool to see, how well received he is with the WWE crowd. You can tell that it means a lot to him. So,
It's
um
a different crowd. It's a real
oh yeah,
different crowd between
completely.
AEW and WWE. It
Yeah.
is a different crowd. So